rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. And, it's rare that this kind of thing happens, but here's the train. Oh, wait. Yeah, there it goes. There's the train. And I can't forget our squirrel, because my chat has already gotten nuts. They're already going nuts. I'm telling you, the best place to be during this show is over on Rumble. Join in with the chat over there. And everybody jumped in, and they're talking about pink fuzzy handcuffs, I think. Anyway, and how to acquire them. Oh, you can just imagine what's going on right there. Anyway, moving on. All right, folks, got a lot for you for this evening. Let's go ahead and get things kicked off tonight. We have G, who's hanging out on the couch. That's where G usually is. He hangs on the couch. Anyway, G is hanging out on the couch, and he is up for tonight's recitation of the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me, place your hand over your heart, and join in with G as he recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank you, G, for that wonderful rendition of the pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself performing or reciting the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and send it off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at americanperspective.online. I'm looking for number 18. I have 17 of them. 17 wonderful Whiskey Warriors have presented me with their fantastic renditions of the pledge. They get played every single program. So please, if you have not done so, please do so. I'd like to get 18. I'm a bit of an OCD person in this. I'm a bit of an OCD person. I like even numbers. So let's get number 18, please. All right. So there you go. All right. Well, before I get going too much farther, we got to remind everybody that tonight is
down to business.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
That's right. It's Whiskey Wednesday. It's like Taco Tuesday, but for badasses. And tonight, I'm still working on the Buffalo Trace bottle. There it is, Buffalo Trace. And, of course, tonight being TGRN Wednesdays, there it is, the True Grit Roots Network glass. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this, but the stones are no longer blocking. Look, I can even, it's going through me. I'm not being shown in the glass. Why is that? Well, that's because of the fact that they're not the stones. They are, and you've seen them before, but they are little green cacti that is in the glass, little green frozen cacti in the glass. And because they're green and I use green screen stuff, that's why I can't show them to you, because the computer's taking them out. But anyway, I promise you, they're in the glass. And yes, it does take stones to drink with whiskey. Tonight, they're just cacti-shaped stones. So there you go, in the green. You've seen them before. I know you have. But anyway, let's go ahead and take the requisite first sip. Ah, that was a big mouthful. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. And of course, because it is TGRN Wednesday, they are our headline sponsor. True Grit Roots Network, TGRN.net. There we go. Cover up my face. Why don't you? TGRN.net is our home on the web. You can go there and listen directly through your browser on either the Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio or the Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio channels. You can do that if you'd like, or you can even, if you slide down a little bit farther past the players, you can download our apps. We have two of them, one for Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio and the other one for Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio. You can grab it both on the App Store and Google Play. Go and do that today. Take us with you wherever you go on your mobile devices. It shows up everywhere. Also, too, don't forget, right up here, you see where it's flashing red way up at the top of my screen? Yeah, that is the shop, baby. The TGRN store. That's right. The TGRN True Grit Roots Network store. You can get T-shirts, hoodies, and ball caps. Well, they've got them radio caps. You got the network cap. You've got the both channels, either Dallas Moore or Walter Trout. Got several select styles and colors, and you can just go and take a look at all of those products and order them direct from our TGRN True Grit Roots Network store. Really should go and check it out. I mean, what's better, honestly, than having an American Perspective T-shirt like mine, also having a True Grit Roots Network and Dallas Moore Outlaw Radio and a Walter Trout Blues Rock Radio T-shirts. Absolutely wonderful, all of them. And you definitely should get yours today. So you can also go directly to the store if you want by going to store.tgrn.net. That's store.tgrn.net. And go and check that out. Or like I said, if you go back and you look at our outlet, our tgrn.net, it's right there. It's item number 4 on the upper menu in the shop. So yeah, you can go and check all that out. But check it, call us, follow us, take us with you over your weekends and things like that. I mean, put us on your mobile device and take us anywhere. Also, too, don't forget that you can listen to us through the Live 365 app, either on your smart device, meaning like your Alexa, or you can even listen through your television, too, through your Roku or whatever they have, the Live 365 app there. And you can listen to us directly through your TV. You can see all of the album covers and ads and all the other stuff in wonderful color. We do have logos and stuff that we do. So there you go. All right. So check us out. Go to tgrn.net. TGRN stands for True Grit Roots Network. And, of course, we are based out of Austin, Texas. tgrn.net. We appreciate you listening. All righty. So, quite a bit of stuff has happened over the course of the last 24 hours since we last spoke. Oh, by the way, I cannot forget tonight's Pet of the Week. We finally have some Amy puppies. So hang out for that. Hang out all the way to the end of the show for that. We've got some Amy puppy pics. We finally got them. So anyway, well, let's go ahead and get started off with, again, the leftists on the mass news media, the mainstream media, whatever you want to call it. They, of course, can't understand why things are actually going okay. I'm not saying they're going well, but they're going okay. And meaning that it's not worse. It's not better necessarily. I mean, things are getting a little bit better, but it's not worse. And they can't quite figure out why. Because, I mean, again, we have all the tariffs and we have all these other things and all this stuff going on. They just can't quite figure out why. Well, CNN, let's see if, what is her name? Vanessa Yurkovich. Oh, what the heck of a kind of a name is that? Anyway, Vanessa Yurkovich, she's the CNN business reporter. She did a segment yesterday about the energy and food prices that were in July. So, yeah, let's go ahead and listen to her in her amazement of what's happening here. Take a listen.
What are you seeing? A tamer inflation report despite President Trump's tariffs. This is better than expected. Month over month, as you mentioned, up 0.2%. On an annual basis, up 2.7% in July. That's also what we saw on an annual basis for the month of June. When you look at the key categories that we always look at, energy, food, and shelter, energy fell by 1.1%. That was largely driven because of gas prices falling in the month of July by 2.2%. Look at that food. I mean, this is where people spend their money, right? Food every single day. Food flat, 0%, and actually down at the grocery store by 0.1%. And then shelter, we always usually see an increase because that is what people are paying on rent. And we know that rents are rising. That is usually the biggest share of this report.
So there you go. I mean, I got to tell you, X, Facebook, all the leftist pundits over there on the social medias, you cannot necessarily go by what they said because all of them have been, and especially when you're talking about, the Democrat talking heads like Hakeem Jeffries and Cory Booker and any of these other morons that all stand up in front of their cameras and try to talk. I mean, Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff is another one he's taken to using social media and doing little videos and things like that. You can't listen to them anymore. Not that I'm necessarily saying you need to listen to CNN either, but at least CNN is starting to come around. They're starting to see, now granted they don't understand why, but they're starting to see that, yeah, Trump's term isn't really shaping up to be the way that everybody, all the doomsayers and everything else that they have in the leftist lunatic camp, all of them have been trying and tell you, oh my gosh, everything's going to fall. Everything's going to fall. Now, I will tell you this much, that the fact that things aren't going that badly on the economic front is a good thing, because as of right now, the economy is the only thing at this point that is really left as a part of Trump's arsenal in terms of what he said he was going to do that hasn't really come to the same fruition that he was touting during his run up to the election and everything. But that's okay. I'm okay with that because, to be honest with you, as long as the economy does not tank, that's going to make a big difference in the midterms. If the economy stays the way it is, for the most part, or does better, then we're going to have, we meaning the conservatives and the Republicans, are going to have a better a better midterm than what the left keeps trying to tell us, that, oh no, we're going to be taking over everything in the midterms. Yeah, that ain't going to happen. But we've got to, again, the economy realistically has kind of got to stay steady, or it's got to get better, because if it tanks, there will be a bit of a backlash. And unfortunately, that would not go in the conservatives' direction for that. So, anyway, so there we go. All right. So yesterday I told you about the whistleblower report with regards to the leaked intel that Adam Shifty Schiff in particular told people to go ahead and do. And the one whistleblower whose testimony was being highlighted in the article that I was reading basically said that the whistleblower knew that this was potentially illegal and bad and possibly down on treason and everything else. Well, now House Judiciary Chairman Jim Jordan has said yesterday that he put former top administration official Attorney General Merrick Garland and Senator Adam Schiff on notice that they may have to testify about that leaked intelligence related to Russiagate. Now, Jordan did tell Just the News No Noise television show when he was asked about Garland and Schiff if they should testify. He said, yeah, I would probably like to talk to the individual who did the 302. He's like, I assume there's a 302 done. We just got this information. We're just digging through it. Now, for those of you that don't know, a 302 is a report form that the FBI agents use to summarize witness interviews. So, an intelligence officer who worked for the Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee for more than a decade repeatedly warned the FBI, beginning in 2017, that then Representative Adam Schiff approved leaking classified information to smear then President Donald Trump over the now debunked Russiagate hoax. And this is according to an FBI memo that was first reported on by none other than Just the News. The 302 interview reports obtained by Just the News state the intelligence staffer, who is a Democrat by party affiliation, who describes himself as a friend to both Schiff, who is now a California senator, and former Republican House Intelligence Chairman Devin Nunes, considered the classified leaking to be unethical, illegal, and treasonous, but was told not to worry about it because Schiff believed that he would be spared prosecution in accordance with the Constitution's speech and debate clause. Folks, you recall back when those Democrats were arrested at the ICE facility, I read you the speech and debate clause in the Constitution, and it clearly states, which, by the way, if you don't have a Constitution, you really should get one, because you can then, of course, refer to it anytime that I bring it up. Go to constitution.americanperspective.online and get this fabulous Saddleback leather-bound U.S. Constitution. It's got a 100-year warranty. Sorry, quick spot. Anyway, once again, that's constitution.americanperspective.online to get one and support the show. But you recall that I read to you that part that talks about the immunity that is given to Congress whenever they are on the Hill. Now, the thing about it is, though, is that they only have immunity when they're going to and from their job and on the Hill itself. And by the way, according to Mark Levin, and Mark Levin, I'm going to tell you, is he's a pretty damn good constitutional knowledge individual. He basically pointed out that, yeah, the Constitution doesn't cover, that immunity doesn't cover actually doing criminal acts. It only covers official actions. Oh, Jarhead. Boy, let me tell you, Jarhead 13. I'm telling you, I've got the most intelligent listening audience in the ethosphere. Right here, Jarhead 13. Constitutional protections only cover official actions. Criminal actions aren't covered. He's right on top of it. I've got the smartest listening audience. I'm telling you, every single one of you is so damn smart. You keep me on my toes. Sometimes I even wonder why I'm even here because, you guys can all take care of it. And you have when when I've had tech problems. But anyway, let me continue here. So the whole point is he thought that he was going to be spared prosecution under that. That's the same clause that a lot of people think that even Obama was covered by. Obama and, the whole presidential immunity thing, that's the same kind of deal. And even the Supreme Court basically said that, hey, for official actions, you're fine, but you cannot be doing actual criminal acts without getting into trouble. So anyway, the the whole point about all this, of course, is that Shifty Schiff, who was being investigated for mortgage fraud, is now going to be investigated under this entire situation with leaking intelligence information. And, Mark Levin brought up a good point the other morning, or maybe it was this morning, about his, I listened to it in the morning, so this would have been last night for his show. But he brought up a good point. The Senate Ethics Board or Ethics Committee could actually initiate actions against Schiff themselves. They could initiate it right now on their own and decide that Schiff is not acting or has not acted in an ethical manner in the past and kick him out of the Senate. Now, that would be awesome. I would love to see Shifty Schiff just disappear. I would love to see Shifty Schiff just disappear. He definitely does. I mean, the timing on his jumping, by the way, is just amazing, because he jumped from being a representative over to the Senate right as he was being censured by his own peers for lying about the Russiagate scandal, or the Russiagate hoax, I should say. So, anyway. So Jordan made a statement. He goes, "In my mind, I always say everything's on the table. The American people deserve the truth. People who did real wrongdoing should be held accountable. So we'll evaluate all of that." Jordan did say that former FBI Director Chris Wray likely had this information about Schiff and didn't say anything about it to Congress. He said, quote, "We didn't get this information from Chris Wray. We got it from Kash Patel, who was actually trying to get to the truth out to the American people. For some reason, this was never given to any of us by Director Wray." Jordan said they will likely be consulting lawyers to figure out how to handle the intelligence going forward. He says, "I think the first step is for us to consult with our lawyers on House counsel, right on speech and debate, and how that would apply, and with the facts of this situation here." Jordan praised past whistleblowers for coming forward with information and said he hoped the whistleblower who leaked the current story wouldn't get as much scrutiny as whistleblowers Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler. You remember those two? Those two were the IRS folks that leaked about the whole Hunter Biden situation. So, yeah, there you go. Anyway. All right. Well, enough about that. So, well, Trump is racking up the court wins again. Here's another one that came through. This one in a battle over slashing the foreign aid. The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals handed the Trump administration another major victory today after it lifted a district court's preliminary injunction prohibiting the government from cutting foreign aid for fiscal year 2024. The ruling comes after several entities, including the following: AIDS Vaccine Advocacy Coalition, Journalism Development Network, Inc., among others. They all filed a lawsuit challenging the White House's cutting of foreign aid. Judge Karen LaCraft Henderson wrote the majority opinion, holding that the plaintiffs did not have a valid legal basis for suing the administration over the matter. Henderson explained that the plaintiffs could not base their case purely on constitutional separation of powers arguments when their complaints were centered on whether or not the Trump administration had violated spending laws. She argued that they could not use the Administrative Procedure Act because the Impoundment Control Act already mandates that only the Comptroller General can file a lawsuit under the legislation. Folks, the lawfare is starting to come home to roost against the leftist lunatics. The court system is starting to realize that, hey, maybe we need to pay attention to what these people are doing, because this is not something that we want to continue moving forward, especially the appeals courts. and of course the Supreme Court as well. You know, this whole idea of using the courts, this has been running around for years. I mean, everything all the way from, you know, the whole abortion issue, Roe versus Wade, all the way up to today. It's, I'm hoping it's coming to an end and some sense is coming back to the court system. Well, speaking of the court system, you may recall when the Dobbs decision was put out there just a few years ago, that there was some suggestion by Justice Thomas in particular, where he basically said, hey, you know, we might want to take a look at some of these other court cases that may have been the court overstepping its bounds. Now, keep in mind, don't forget, the whole idea of the abortion thing basically boiled down to one thing and one thing only, and that is that the abortion subject, along with any health care, doesn't show up in the Constitution, and therefore it is a states' rights issue. Well, guess what? We now have another possible case that could fall into this exact same place. So Monday, a person by the name of Davis, last name, the legal appeal was requested up to SCOTUS. And what this case was is a former Kentucky County Clerk, Kim Davis. She was infamously jailed, sued, and then terminated for her role after she refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples because it violated her faith. Well, now this case has finally made it to the level of the Supreme Court, and a report released Monday revealed that Davis's legal representation has gone ahead and submitted a petition for a writ of certiorari in July, asking the Supreme Court of the United States to consider her appeal of the $100,000 jury decision against her for emotional damages and the $260,000 in legal expenses. The petition lays out the impact of what is called as the Obergefell decision. So Obergefell was Hodges versus Obergefell, which effectively legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. Now, the court's decision, in terms of this, and by the way, the petition lays out the impact in this decision, pointing directly to the precedent of Dobbs. So now we have our first case, our first nationwide case, that is actually pointing to the Dobbs decision. And it's basically saying the court's decision in Obergefell, grounded in erroneous fiction on substantive due process, is such a decision and the mistake must be corrected. Indeed, 3 of the 5 lawyers who happened to hold commissions authorizing them to resolve legal disputes in 2015 and who announced a right that, quote, has no basis in the Constitution or this court's precedent are no longer so commissioned. So the Davis legal team is basically saying that Obergefell was wrong. It is wrong. It is egregiously wrong. Okay? It is egregiously wrong. Because what a lot of people don't seem to understand is marriage, by its very definition, and every state recognizes this, by the way, by its very definition, is a matter that can be done by a religious entity. It is not something that is specifically for the state to decide. And so what this does is this sets up two pieces, in my mind, two pieces of potential problems here. One is, of course, the fact that, first of all, marriage doesn't even show up in the Constitution as a federally constitutionally mandated responsibility of the federal government, number one. And number two is you have the First Amendment, which talks about religious freedom and blocking the exercise thereof of religious freedom. Folks, they never should have made this. They never should have bothered to even gotten involved with this. They really never should have. It should be a states' rights issue, not a federal one. Because again, as I keep pointing out on this program, the Constitution, first of all, is supposed to rein in the federal government over all of its doings. It's supposed to put up guardrails for the federal government, number one. And number two is the federal government is from the states as a collective outbound to foreign interactions. That's what the Constitution is supposed to be. And so what ends up having to be the particular case, okay, is that the states have to deal with the idea of recognizing whether or not they're going to recognize same-sex marriage. Now, to be honest and real, just like with the abortion issue, you're going to have a patchwork quilt of things across the nation. And if you happen to be one of those who wants to get married same-sex wise and you go off to, say, my state of Washington, they're going to recognize it. And once you are married, then the other states are going to have to recognize that as a part, more than likely, as a part of the 14th Amendment. But the fact of the matter is that regardless of whether you think the federal government should be involved or not, there's this wonderful thing that I love. And Jarhead, of course, being a Whiskey Warrior P1, knows about it. He says, the 10th Amendment applies. And that's right. 10th Amendment applies. So, this entire situation, whether or not the, SCOTUS obviously hasn't stated whether or not they're going to pick it up or not. And we'll have to wait to find that out. But again, I'm simply stating, and understandably so, I'm just pointing out, it's not that I'm either for or necessarily against same-sex marriage. I mean, my religious beliefs do prohibit the idea of same-sex marriage because, according to the Bible, same-sex is not something that it's basically a sin. So there you go. But the fact of the matter is that we need to understand where the sandbox and the defining lines are. Same-sex marriage is not something the federal government needs to be involved in. Federal government has no purpose in there. The Constitution does not call it out. Does not have any provisions with regards to it. It's the same stance that I'm going to take on healthcare as well, or anything else. Okay? So, I'm sorry, but these kinds of decisions are going to have to be reevaluated and applied. The same rule applies everywhere. And that's essentially it. So that's where I stand with it, but we're going to have to watch and see what happens. I guarantee you that if this gets overturned, it's going to be another one just like when the Dobbs decision was overturned. They're gonna sit there and freak out and go all kinds of crazy over what is essentially going to be nothing, because abortion, which was supposed to end if the Dobbs decision went through, abortion, which was supposed to end, hasn't ended. I haven't seen any, major impacts, because believe me, if there was, the mainstream media would be all over it, or I should call them the lamestream media. But anyway, so there you go. We're gonna have to watch this one for sure. All right, before I get into my next topic, I have a new ad here. Let's see what this one is all about. I talk about it at the end of the show, but let's see what this is all about. Okay, folks. If you're listening to me or watching me anywhere else other than Rumble, you really ought to get over to Rumble. I'm just telling you. Make sure to download the Rumble app. Once you download it, search for the American Perspective channel. And make sure you follow the channel. You got to hit that green follow button, okay? To get notified every time I go live. That's right. This will make sure by clicking that follow button directly in the app, this makes sure that you get a notification every time I go live. So click on the link that is in the description or pinned in the live chat. Or this, let's make sure I'm on the right side. Nope. There we go. This QR code right over here on the, what would be the left side of your screen, right here. Trying to get my finger on it. Anyway, go to that QR code and you'll be able to download the Rumble app to your phone. That Rumble app, of course, is free, folks. It is free. And if you prefer to watch us on the big screen, don't forget the app is also available on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, Roku, LG, and Samsung Smart TVs. All as well as Xbox. All you need to do is search for Rumble and look for that sideways green triangle logo. That is just fantastic. You can go ahead and do that. But download Rumble and watch me on the screen. Not that I really have a face for video. I have a face for radio, which is part of the reason why the microphone sort of covers up a little bit part of my face. Sometimes you'll see me. I'll pull it down. But every once in a while you won't, and that's okay, because, like I said, you guys don't necessarily want to look at me, per se. All you audio folks that are going to be listening after the show, you're going to be like, man, I've never even seen him. He hasn't been on TV at all. Yeah, well, you guys are wonderful, too. I love all of my listeners, my listening audience. Like I said, you guys are the most incredible listening audience in the world. But we support Rumble. Rumble is a fantastic streaming alternative to those places known as YouTube and others. So go and check out Rumble. Great stuff. All right. So, Nancy Pelosi. Yes, she's still alive. She's still around. She's still spewing her BS. Anyway. She apparently posted on X criticizing President Trump's deployment of the National Guard in Washington, D.C. Now, you know that happened here recently. And, of course, all of the leftists, including this one account on X, he goes by the name @MJ claims to be Morgan Freeman, but he's not the Morgan Freeman, the actor. He definitely is not the Morgan Freeman, the actor. He's not as intelligent anywhere near. But anyway, this moron, of course, was talking about how January 6th, which they all do. They all got their same marching orders. January 6th, oh my gosh, why couldn't he get the National Guard to the Capitol building? And, well, that's where she is talking about. She's criticizing. She, of course, criticized the fact that Trump activated the National Guard for the response to the violent crime in the Capitol. And she linked that, by the way, to Donald Trump's handling of the January 6th events. She wrote, quote, Donald Trump delayed deploying the National Guard on January 6th when our Capitol was under violent attack and lives were at stake. Well, there's only one problem, Nancy. Whenever you're trying to say something like that, you better hope that nobody who was actually there can dispute your claims. Because former Capitol Police Chief Sund, who is on X, and he went ahead and responded back to good old Nancy. Here it is, right here. this is the response. And, yeah, again, Nancy, if you're going to make a claim, you better back it up, and you better be able to back it up. But here, he was very respectful, I'm just going to say. Chief Stephen Sund on X. Ma'am, it is long past time to be honest with the American people. On January 3rd, I requested National Guard assistance, but your Sergeant at Arms denied it. There it is. Hey, leftist moron lunatics who are out there trying to say that Nancy Pelosi did nothing about the National Guard, that it was all Trump's fault, read it. Read this and weep, folks. Morons. Anyway, he continues. He says, under federal law, Title II, United States Code, Section 1970. He says, I was prohibited from calling them in without specific approval. Yeah, you remember me talking about this, how the National Guard can't actually be deployed in this kind of a manner without the authority having jurisdiction, meaning the civilian authority in charge. That, you know, there's this thing known as the, I think it's the Posse Comitatus Act and the Insurrection Act and all of that. Yeah, okay, remember, I told you about this. Anyway, he says that same day, Carol Corbin at the Pentagon offered National Guard support. Oh, wait, I thought the National Guard, I thought that the Pentagon didn't do anything because it was under Trump's orders. All of that stuff. Really? No. Let me repeat that. That same day, Carol Corbin at the Pentagon offered National Guard support, but I was forced to decline because I lacked the legal authority. He continues. On January 6th, when the Capitol was under attack, and despite my repeated calls, your Sergeant at Arms again denied my urgent requests for over 70 agonizing minutes. That's 70. Said, quote, running it up the chain for your approval, meaning that the Sergeant at Arms was going to Nancy Pelosi directly, as he or she constitutionally has to. Oh, I am so freaking done with these people. This is I'm telling you the truth here, people. I'm telling you the truth. You want to know the truth? I mean, I'm going to tell it to you. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know. If I need to research, I'll tell you I'm going to research. Okay? But here it is from the horse's mouth. Who was there? He was the one in charge at the time that this was going on. He continues. When I needed assistance, it was denied. Yet when it suited you, you ordered fencing topped with concertina wire and surrounded the Capitol with thousands of armed National Guard troops. You remember that for the inauguration of Joe Biden? I do. On January 20th? I do. Oh my gosh, people, this whole fake scenario over the idea that Donald Trump had any power to bring in the National Guard on January 6th is ludicrous. It's nuts. He did not have the authority because the people who were in charge of the Capitol grounds, namely Nancy Pelosi, the Sergeant at Arms for both houses, and to a smaller extent, Muriel Bowser and the architect for the Capitol. Yeah, this is over with. I'm done. Chief Sund has now publicly called out and just basically said to Nancy Pelosi, you're done. You've been lying for way too long. You just need to go away. And I agree. He is right. He is completely right. She just needs to go away. go away. I'm done with this whole insurrection shit, okay? The insurrection was not an insurrection. Was it a riot? Sure. Did it get out of hand in some areas? Yes. Should people be responsible for that? Yes. They shouldn't sit in jail cells without their due process rights, okay? Without their due process rights having them being violated and their Sixth Amendment rights being violated. But hey, whatever. All they did was, at the most, was obstruct an official proceeding, and even that was struck down by SCOTUS, by the way. So the highest that they could have actually been outside of any of the individuals who might have actually done some destruction, the highest that all those people who were in jail could have been charged with was trespassing. That's it. In fact, not one of them were actually charged with anything, with the exception of a couple of Proud Boys that did get charged with sedition. But outside of that, nobody else was charged with anything that was really high ranking that required them to be in jail for, 12 to 18 months or whatever it was. Anyway. All right. Quick break here, only because I want to do it before I move on to my next major topic. So, let's talk about my logoed gear. Where is there it is. So let's talk about my logoed gear store. Take a look at this shirt. This fine white with red and blue on my logo. It's alternative. I think it's logo number 3. I have 3 different logos that have different colorings to them. I think this one's logo number 3, but it's a white shirt. Beautiful shirt. And it comes from store.americanperspective.online. It is the American Perspective logo. And you should go and check out my store. It's store.americanperspective.online. Go and get yours. If you're a whiskey, if you're a Whiskey Warrior P1 and you don't have an American Perspective shirt yet, I got to tell you, and I keep the costs low. I'm just telling you, I try to keep the costs low. I only take a small amount, and what that small amount does, just for those of you that don't know, that small amount takes care of things like paying for a higher level of Rumble, which I do. And also goes toward things like my phone number, which I'm thinking of resurrecting here in the near future. Maybe starting off either a phone-in Friday or a sound-off Saturday. I think that would be kind of fun. What do you guys think about that? Those in the chat, go ahead. And no, I'm not going to put out any merkins. For those of you that want to know what a merkin is, cover your kids' eyes and ears, and you'll figure it out. Anyway, go to store.americanperspective.online and get t-shirts. Get t-shirts, hoodies, crewneck sweatshirts, tank tops, and you'll also find links to go and get yourself the Constitution of the United States, the leather Saddleback U.S. Constitution. You'll find links to the Old Whiskey Musing store. You'll find cups and water bottles. I got a couple versions of those with logo number 3 in it. And you can go and check that out. Go to store.americanperspective.online and check all that out today. I appreciate it, believe me. I appreciate everything that you guys do. Because without you, there would be no me. All right. Well, it looks like the Texas redistricting issue may be coming to an end. Doesn't mean that it's not going to have any rocky road in between here and the ending of it. But anyway, the Gavin Newsom has basically sent a letter off. By the way, he sent a letter off to Donald Trump and was like, please, sir, stop Texas from doing their redistricting, please, sir. I mean, he sounded a little bit like Oliver, begging for more porridge or whatever it was in the movie. But please, sir, can I have some more? Anyway, he basically in a way sort of threatened the president for this. He's saying, hey, if you don't tell them to stop, then we're going to go ahead and do our stop. We're going to redistrict our stuff, and we're going to redistrict it such that we're going to get rid of Republican seats. Well, Greg Abbott was speaking with Glenn Beck on Glenn Beck's podcast today. And, Abbott, he had some choice responses for the whole thing with regards to Gavin Newsom. Here, let's go ahead and take a listen.
Gavin Newsom has just demanded that you stop your redistricting efforts. He said he was going to retaliate by adding 5 more Democratic seats in California to cancel out the 5 that Texas is going to add. He said, Governor Abbott, you are not entitled to 5 congressional seats. Any response to Gavin Newsom?
Oh, my God. I'm questioning that. A break. So for one, there's so many things wrong with that. In Texas, for us to redraw congressional lines and make sure that people in Texas are going to have the ability to vote for the Republican candidate of their choice in these congressional seats, all it requires is for the governor to call a special session on it and for a majority of the Texas House and Senate to vote on it. In California, they have to go through this complex constitutional process, which really means they would not even be able to get it done.
Right.
But that point aside, if they still really wanted to get something done, it's impossible because they are so gerrymandered in the first place. They have almost eliminated all Republican members of Congress out there. And Glenn, this is the biggest issue that surfaced because of this redistricting battle. And that is most Americans had no idea how much California, Illinois, New York, and Massachusetts had gerrymandered their states so that they had purged pretty much every Republican from the United States Congress. And so the California with Gavin Newsom, he's kind of like someone showing up to a gunfight but forgot to bring the bullets because he doesn't have any bullets to shoot in this fight, whereas Texas has plenty of bullets to shoot to make sure that we will maintain a congressional district in Texas that's going to be more Republican, more representative of the values and votes in our state, but also capable of stretching that if we do have states like California or Illinois, whatever the case may be, if they go full scale and really rig the system the way that Gavin Newsom is talking about doing, if those rules apply, then Texas can gain more ground than California can.
Okay. I'm sorry. I got to back this video up. I got to back it. It's okay. So I don't know if anybody saw this. Did you guys see? I'm taking a step. Look, this is going to be on the order of the whiskey train is jumping off the track here. Did you guys notice this camera? Okay, so keep in mind, all right, I'm just going to throw this out here. I am a self-funded, self-operated program. Everything I do, you're looking at the guy that has made it happen for the most part. It's only a few of my sound effects and some of the things like, I've had some fan submitted stuff like the whiskey train and that kind of stuff has been submitted. Some of my backgrounds have been submitted, but the vast majority of everything that you see that is going on here is initiated by me. I don't have a producer. I don't have a marketer. I don't have all these extra people. But when I go and I look at this at Glenn Beck's studio, and I don't know if anybody noticed this, but you can see right over here, there's a track with a camera on it, and it is moving. If I pull, if I go through, you can see it's moving and like coming in and say, I mean, my God, I am salivating over all this equipment, but take a look at his studio. Holy crap. he's got like this window that goes into his engineering room. He's got apparently his producer just off to the right. And, oh my gosh, I have been sitting here trying to figure out, hey, I want to go and would really like to go and figure out what my future studio would look like. And I might have to like take a snapshot of this and just take a few notes in terms of what's there. It looks like he's got some reading material over on the right there and that kind of stuff. Like I said, most of you folks are probably sitting there going, oh my God, what is she talking about here? Well, what I am talking about is the future of this show. If I can get enough things going here in terms of marketing, get people involved, obviously you guys, word of mouth is my greatest marketer right now. When you guys go out and start telling people about the stuff that I'm doing here and inviting people to come and listen to the show, that is my marketing. That is my marketing office. But I just look at this and I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. So, yeah, anyway. Oh my gosh, I just had to throw that out there. All right. So let's go back. Let's talk about this. So one thing that Greg Abbott hit on, by the way, my lefties are like all going crazy about the my whiskey warriors are all going crazy about the engineer stuff and everything that's out there. Yeah, I know. I've got some talented people, very smart people in the audience. But my whiskey warriors are all talking about, hey, you can have this person as your engineer, this person as your producer. Yeah, no, I understand that. Unfortunately, I would like you to get paid for your work. So, anyway, but one of the things that Greg Abbott, to get back on track here, back on topic, Greg Abbott had talked about is California. So let me show you what California looks like. This is the California districting map. Take a look at that thing. Oh, my Lord. I mean, they have districts that stretch. There's one district there that stretch. It's like, holy crap. Oh, they stretch almost the entire freaking state. In fact, there's one. Well, I guess the colors are a little bit off, but there's one that that appeared to be like almost nothing, in terms of, look at this. Look at this thing. They have gerrymandered the hell out of this state. They have gerrymandered it like crazy. I mean, this is just nuts. The cities are broken up. They even have like sections of the cities. Let me just show you like Los Angeles, the greater Los Angeles area. Take a look at that one there in the middle of the screen. Oh my gosh, they've got like one district that wraps almost completely around another district. I mean, this is just nuts. And you're sitting here and the leftist morons in these states are sitting here saying, oh, no, we don't. When we gerrymander for the people. Really? You gerrymander for the people? Uh-huh. Yeah, let me show you Oregon for an example. Here's Oregon. Oh, I got to back off the zoom here. Here's Oregon. And I'm going to zoom in. One of the major cities in Oregon is known as Portland. Portland, Oregon, the largest city in the state of Oregon. Take a look at that. Portland sits in essentially 3 separate districts. 3 separate districts cover the entire city. And they went and took those 3 districts and like stretched them out, got them farther out into the rural areas in order to basically try and negate those that are voting Republican. Because remember what I've been telling you, and this is true regardless of whether you're looking at Washington, Oregon, California, Illinois, New York, they're all the same. And even you can even see it in Texas, what is considered to be a red state. You can look in Texas. look in Texas, the cities are all blue, but the counties are all red. Everything outside, all of the suburban and rural areas are all red. And that's the same thing that happens in Washington, in Oregon, in California, even in Idaho. You know, we don't have red states and blue states, folks. We really don't. They're mostly purple. And the reason why they're purple is because the urban areas almost always go blue because of something in the frickin' water or whatever. But you have 3 separate counties here, or 3 separate congressional districts that all represent Portland. In this particular case, in Oregon. I mean, why? Why? Well, the only reason, of course, is because they want to make sure that they can have a balance or a predominance of Democrat voters in those congressional districts. So, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Now, Coco, the insert name here, it's just mentioned that she's having a hard time checking out the merch store. I may have to take a look at that. Let's see. Anyway, the point that I'm making, and by the way, too, that was California, and I just showed you Oregon. Let me show you New Mexico. New Mexico even has a weird gerrymandering. Whoops, I'm zoomed in. New Mexico even has a really weird gerrymandering scenario. Because if you look here, it's got this big like hook. And you want to talk about another one of these. Here is Connecticut, I believe. Look at this Connecticut, this district, all in red. It looks like a backward it's a backward C. It's like, what the hell? Folks, this gerrymandering bullshit from the left is literally that. It is gerrymandering bullshit. There is absolutely nothing here. Really, seriously. The way that we solve this, honestly, and granted, you can't do it at the federal level because the federal level, unfortunately, the Constitution doesn't allow for the Congress to do anything other than, they can talk about, or for the elections process, they can talk about it, but everything is basically left to the states to figure this out. But it would be nice if there was a way to make it to where we just basically say, hey, look, you have to have contiguous districts. Because that's the other thing, too. If you take a look at, for an example, if you take a look at the Oregon map, there's counties. I mean, take a look at this right here. So here in this purple area, district number 5, they have a county line. They have part of the county. Part of Jefferson County is actually part of Congressional District 5, while the rest of Jefferson County, the vast majority of Jefferson County, is in Congressional District 2. They have parts of counties, and they did the same thing, by the way. They did the same thing sort of to Salem as well, which is another populated area in Oregon. But you can take a look at some of these counties. They're like half the county is in one congressional district, the other half is not. So, and you can see that even in California. California's got a couple that are like that too, where they have part of the county, especially down here. Especially down here in the 23 only comprises the majority of one county, and then some of another county, another couple of counties, and then Congressional District 25 covers another county as well. Covers part of the county that 23 is in, or 20 is in. 23, sorry. I mean, come on, folks. This is just. Oh, this is nuts. This whole gerrymandering idea is just totally crazy and nuts. These people are lunatics. They're crazy. And the Texas, by the way, the Texas map is actually getting better. It's getting more contiguous. Let me see if I have that. I don't have that. Okay. Well, anyway, the Texas map is actually getting more contiguous. They're actually going and changing, and they're basically going and making the map make a lot more sense. Like, instead of having a meandering thing like they have in Illinois that goes across half the state, they are going to they're going to take care of this and collect this and put it into a more contiguous, sensible, common sense kind of area. Well, that map that you've probably seen already actually did get passed. It got passed by the Texas State Senate. Now, just like our federal government, okay, most of the mainstream media will say, oh, yeah, the redistricting map passed Texas's Congress. No, it didn't. But you got to remember, Congress and legislatures are made up of two houses, usually a Senate and a House, okay? The Senate in Texas has passed it. That means the House is waiting until they get their freaking issues with the people that have left, the Democrats that took off, to sit there and essentially get this completed. Now, the House Democrats are remaining absent. Texas AG Paxton has sued to remove 13 of them already, which we haven't heard anything on that yet. But the state Senate approved the new Republican-drawn maps yesterday, which of course have led to the House Democrats in Texas flee the state. So the House Democrats remain on the lam in an effort to obstruct the legislative proceedings spearheaded by the Republicans to redraw the state's congressional maps. Now, keep in mind, again, this is a court-ordered process. And not only that, but this is a process that they needed to do anyway because they got gypped by the U.S. Census and all of that stuff. I mean, this is nuts. Anyway, so yeah, they the Senate was able to obtain their quorum and of course pass the maps, but they have to be passed in the House, and as of right now, it's unclear as to when that's going to be possible. These Democrats keep talking about it isn't about fair representation. Well, your gerrymandering has not been about fair representation at all. As I just showed you, all of the weird ass gerrymandered maps in leftist states to try and maintain leftist control of the House of Representatives at the federal level. They'll do whatever they can in order to keep control there. Just to bring everybody up to speed, the fact that the Texas Republicans are trying to get these new maps done because they are supposedly in violation of the Voting Rights Act. Civil arrest warrants have been issued for those Texas House Democrats that took off in an effort to compel the absent Democrats to return. Those civil arrest warrants are only enforceable within the state lines, and they don't lead to jail time since they're not criminal. It's just trying to catch you up on some of this. But anyway, yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, reportedly, there's some reports now, don't know for sure if these are confirmed or not, okay? But there's some reports that are out there according to ABC News, that some of the Dems who have fled the state are now planning to return. ABC News 13, this according to Hot Air, ABC News 13 has confirmed with multiple sources that the House Democrats will return to Texas. Eyewitness News has not confirmed the date, but we do know that Democrats believe they've accomplished their mission by killing the first special session and by raising national awareness about the mid-decade redistricting effort. Yeah, you guys rose to the occasion and demonstrated that, yeah, your gerrymandering redistricting efforts are freaking moronic. So the current session is supposed to expire on this Friday. And so if they come back after that session, yeah, we might have a bit of a challenge here. But anyway, so yeah, ABC News in Houston got a statement from a spokesperson saying members are still assessing their strategies going forward and are in a private meeting to make decisions about future plans currently. If and when the Texas House Democrats breaking quorum decide to go home is squarely dependent upon the actions of the governor, the speaker, and Texas Republicans in charge, and what they make in regards to prioritizing the flood victims over redistricting that hurts Texans. So in other words, what they're doing here is they are essentially saying that, hey, we'll return if you put forth the legislation that has to deal with the flood victims, because, of course, that was also affected by them leaving on this. And so basically, what they're essentially doing here is they're sort of trying to hold it hostage and say, hey, yeah, I know you guys want to do those flood victim monetary thing, the assistance, the state assistance for the flood victims. We want you to do that, but we're going to say you need to put the redistricting further back on the docket, and then we'll come home. So, yeah. They're trying to shift the responsibility, of course, for their behavior, because if the Republicans say, no, we're not going to do that, then the Democrats can then say, see, the Republicans, they don't like you. Because we've already told them that we'll come back for that. Anyway, Democrats will claim that the lack of the vote of flood relief is the Republicans' fault, essentially. So, oh, I gotta love you. I gotta love it when they do this. Anyway. So other reasons that they could be thinking about coming back, of course, is basically because, one, they're no longer getting paid because all checks must be picked up in person. And secondly, a judge ruled that the Beto O'Rourke political group could not pay for their travel, food, and lodgings because basically it's fundamentally a vacation. So thankfully, the political pressure is being pressed in the proper ones. And given that each Democrat is currently racking up about $500 per day in fines for also being absent from this special session, the pressure to return to work is definitely mounting, not to mention the fact that a lot of people who are a lot more intelligent than the leftist lunatic morons that are out there, they essentially are putting pressure. The public is actually putting pressure on all of this too. So, yeah. Anyway, also, too, the vote, just so you know, the vote in the Senate to pass the new maps eventually gained approval following a 19-2 vote. So, there you go. We're just going to have to wait and see if Abbott or whatever follow along with the whole idea of this. Will return if you put the flood relief up for a vote first. From there. So anyway. All right, let me do. Let me take a quick drink. All right, and let me go ahead and hit this. Let's talk about Rumble Premium. You've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. Now, there's Rumble Premium, which is an easier way, or I should say an easy way, to upgrade your experience. With Premium, you actually get ad-free viewing across the platform. No pre-rolls, no interruptions, just the content that you came for. Like the content of me. Okay? Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scenes drops, and more from your favorite creators. Now, I haven't used Rumble Premium yet. I haven't used Rumble Premium. I haven't done premium videos, but the idea is there. It definitely is there. I'm just saying. So, also, too, Rumble Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos behind. Well, I just said that. Anyway, right now, Rumble is offering $10 off of an annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium. For those of you that don't know, that / is your question mark key on your keyboard. Rumble.com/premium. Use the promo code STUDIO, STUDIO, at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO to get $10 off an annual subscription to Rumble Premium. No ads, more freedom, and content you actually care about. That's the deal. Go to rumble.com/premium, use promo code STUDIO at checkout to get $10 off an annual subscription to Rumble Premium. All right. Help support Rumble. Rumble supports us, like me. Oh, all righty, folks. One last thing. This is sort of depressing. But one last thing I do want to talk about here really quick before we get to the puppy overload that's coming. The U.S. Treasury now says that the U.S. debt is more than $37 trillion. Now, you'll remember that the debt limit was just increased to $41.1 trillion back in July, and we're already at $37 trillion, more than $37 trillion. According to the Treasury Department, and they announced this on August 12th, we are actually basically just a little over $37 trillion at this point. I won't even read the number because this would be a pain in the butt to read. But anyway, so according to the Treasury's latest report, outstanding public debt divided into roughly $29.6 trillion in debt held by the public and roughly $7.4 trillion in intragovernmental holdings. Now, one thing that I haven't had confirmed yet, but I'm sort of interested in. Mark Levin was talking about this just in the last couple of episodes that I've listened to. And I got to tell you, I mean, a lot of people don't like Mark because of his voice, but I got to tell you, I am listening to him more and more because of the fact that some of these other podcasters and other folks that are out there, they're just getting. They're starting to fracture, and they're getting broken up into different segments, even within the Republican Party, because, you know, the Republican Party has a habit of not being able to be cohesive like the Democrats. The Democrats have such a hive mind, they're able to just one person says it and they all say the exact same thing, word for word, tone for tone. And the Republicans, of course, are free thinkers. We don't think that way. And so anyway, I'm starting to listen to Mark Levin again a little bit more and more, mostly because of the fact that I'm attempting to. I mean, he's he's successful on the radio. And in order to be successful, especially in this business, whether it's podcasting, radio, television, you generally want to look at the people who are doing it on a regular basis and are successful at it. This is part of the reason why I watched people like Bongino, why I watched and listened to people like Rush. You know, Rush, of course, being the greatest of all time in terms of radio, being the GOAT in terms of conservative radio, conservative talk radio. He's definitely one that I go back and listen to now and again. But anyway, I digress, got off track. Here we go. Another whiskey off the rails moment. Brought to you by, no, I'm just kidding. But one of the things that he was talking about, and I have to confirm this, is that 37 trillion, by the way, does not include what they call entitlements. And the entitlements that they're referring to, the word entitlements, is programs such as Social Security. Now, don't get me wrong. I use that terminology only because that's the terminology being used in order to reference those types of programs. But the point here is that if this 37 trillion does not include Social Security, how are we not accounting for that as a part of our national debt? And what the hell is the actual real national debt number? Now, I have no reason to think that Mark Levin would necessarily be lying, because one thing that I do know about this business is if you become fake, if you put out fake stuff, I mean, and don't get me wrong, there are popular podcasters and popular radio hosts that just say whatever comes off the tip of their tongue, and they don't give a shit about truth and facts. But I'm not going to be one of those, because I want to have longevity. And if all you're doing is stepping into the field, okay, you have to have a genuine desire to have a specific type of audience. I'm not looking for an audience that necessarily would be attracted to my ability to come up with fake crap. I want you to be entertained, but I also want you to be educated as well. Educated with the truth. And so here's kind of the problem with this, is that I'm like, holy crap. If this particular thing, $37 trillion, that is just, it is a number that is unfathomable by a mind. It really isn't. And so I'm sitting here trying to say, if that isn't even including all of the things that are owed through things like Social Security, how are you sitting here looking at this and going, oh my gosh, what is our actual number? Is it 50 trillion, 100 trillion, 200 trillion, or more? We are in such a hole, people. We are in such a hole that I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how hard this is going to be to dig our asses out of this. Anyway. And yes, I do eventually want to see myself. If somebody were to ask me today, where do you want to see your podcast to go? I would love to see it go and skyrocket. I would love to see my podcast. And I don't even necessarily need the video portion of it. I mean, even if it's just radio, it's just getting on the audio and the radio. I would love to see my podcast just take off. That is my goal. Every time I crack open this mic, my goal is to channel people like Mark Levin, like Rush Limbaugh, and a few others, to try and gain the audience's respect, to educate you, to entertain you, and to keep you coming back for more. I have a fantastic following of folks right now, the Whiskey Warrior P1 crew that hangs out every single day. And, yeah, I'm just saying, this is where I want to go. I think I've defined where I'm going to be when I finally decide to get out of the corporate world necessarily. And this is right here. Right here. And you guys can help me do it. Anyway, let's get on to one of the fan favorites, which is a fan favorite for sure. But let's go ahead and get to one of our fan favorites. And I know everybody has been waiting for this. I'm telling you right now, everybody in the Whiskey Warrior P1 Rumble crew has been waiting for this. Let's get in to the pet of the week. All right, folks, here we go. So everybody knows, well, everybody who is here for, for any kind of longtime Whiskey Warrior P1s, you all know about Amy. And Amy, of course, trains these fantastic canines. And, we've gone through some of the trials and tribulations, but she just recently had a pack of puppies arrive. And let's just say this, they are extremely cute. And we've been waiting, all of us on the P1 crew have been waiting for these images, and she has finally gotten it to us. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and get over there. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to shut some things off and turn some other things on, but here we go. Here is the puppies. So, Amy writes, 7 puppies were born on 5/14/24. 2 boys who are in the blue and dark green colored collars, let's call them. They're actually more, for those of you on the audio portion of the program, they're basically just strings that are there. But anyway, so 2 boys, the blue and dark green, and then 5 girls, which are orange, red, lime green, pink, and white. Now, unfortunately, they lost the girl who was in the orange collar at 6 weeks because she had apparently a heart defect that was cutting off her esophagus. And by the way, she wrote 24. I think it actually is supposed to be 25 to 2025. It was back in May because there are apparently 13 weeks today. So it's got to be 5/14/25. Okay. I just read. I mean, you want to mess me up? Just give me a script that has all kinds of stuff in it. I'll just read. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Well, sort of. Anyway, to get back on track. Unfortunately, the orange one died. Now, early on, Amy apparently had her eye on red. Now, Amy, of course, says, I like true bitches. That's the dog version of bitch. It's the proper term for a female dog. Okay, don't get all pissed off, ladies. Anyway, Amy continues and says, they make me mad and make me laugh at the same time. Red and orange would sit and watch and reason out things, which I like, she says. Amy likes it because it means they're smart. Now, keep in mind, Amy trains these things to do all kinds of professional stuff, like rat hunting, agility, and even in some cases, dock diving. So a smart dog is very important to Amy. So Red would also not back down to any of the other puppies, indicating courage, strength, so on and so forth. By week 6, she had chosen who she was going to keep out of the litter, but she didn't broadcast it. So now, folks, Red became Arwen. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly, but Red became Arwen, and Arwen is called Ari for short. She is named after her grandmother, Livy, and you recall Livy has been a pet of the week a couple of different times on this program, doing the things that Livy does, and Livy unfortunately passed 2 days before these puppies were born. So here we go. We're going to go through these photos. So this one here, this is at 5 weeks. The puppies are going out for a walk. So there they are, going out for a walk. Oh, let me see. Can I get... Yep, there we go. So there they are, going out for a walk. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is Arwen at 5 weeks. So there is Arwen, also known as Red, because of course you see the red string wrapped around her neck so they can tell the difference. That's actually kind of clever. I never even thought about that when I had babies of either the puppy or the kitten variety. But anyway. So this is Arwen. And Arwen at five weeks. Here's the first time that Arwen kind of had a picture of a, one ear up, one ear down. Kind of like, hey, I'm listening to you, but I don't have all of my attention on you. Which is, that's a sign of intelligence and that kind of stuff. And here is Arwen at 6 weeks. 6 weeks has gotten pretty large, a little bit bigger in terms of that. Here's Arwen at 7.5 weeks. And there's the red collar. So paying attention to the camera. Ooh, looking, and that's in sign of intelligence. And here is Arwen at 17.5 weeks, starting to get trained. Like I said, they chase rats in this. So she's starting to get familiarized with the rats. Now, of course, the rats are in a cage for those in the audience or in the audio portion of the program. The rats are in the cage. Here is Arwen at 8 weeks, sitting on the deck. You're like, there it is. Hey, looking attentively at the camera. Tongue out. Here's at 10 weeks. That might be the same photo. I may have done the same photo. 8 weeks, 10 weeks. You could almost do the same thing. Anyway, here is Arwen also at 10 weeks, standing in what appears to be some sort of a water, like bucket or pail or something like that. But anyway, there she is, hanging out. Here is Arwen at 12 weeks. Obviously, you can see the incredibly how she's gotten bigger very quickly. Dogs, of course, do that. And here is Arwen getting used to the canister that they use for the barn hunts, where they go and they take a look at or they go and chase the rats. So Arwen obviously is paying attention to what is in the plastic tube, which is a good indicator that she might be able to be a decent barn hunter for that. Let me see. There. Okay, we're back to the puppies. So there's one more thing I want to show, or that was submitted, and I need to show you guys. And that is a video of Arwen, doing her first, let's say, obedience trick. So here is Arwen performing a sit.
Good girl.
There you go. We'll run it one more time because it's short. So here is Arwen doing a sit. First obedience training.
Good girl.
Yep, she sat immediately under the command, which is good. So that is a fantastic dog. She obviously has a great start. And of course, Amy being the fantastic dog trainer that we all know she is. She is doing a wonderful job with the new puppy. Congratulations to Amy now that she has taken advantage of the new pup and of the litter. And so there you go. It is that's tonight's pet of the week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I do. I always love watching Amy and her dog. She's just fantastic. Some people get involved in stuff like this and technology and things like that. Well, she went ahead and she does all of this just on her spare time. That's like her hobby, her love and her passion. Someday I will have to get to Florida and meet these dogs in person. That's all I got to say. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Oh, by the way, if you want to have your pet of the week demonstrated presented next week, send off videos, pictures, story, name, breed, etc. And these are Teruvian something or other, and I can never get them right. But of course, Amy has shown pity on me and said, just call them turves. So that's what I'm doing, is I just call them turves. But anyway, if you want to have your pet of the week featured here on the program, all you need to do is send me the email with pictures and stuff like that. Send it to fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, FANS, at AmericanPerspective.online. All right, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, do not forget to search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time I go live. Also, too, don't forget before you head out, hit those thumbs up or thumbs down across all of my platforms, whether it's X, YouTube, Facebook, and, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, folks, and good night, everybody.